Yo, it's your boy Opally, and today, this is what if Naruto had the curse mark, part 1, and let's get into it.
One at a time, all the time, ooh.
Yeah, okay.
Disrespectful and
Okay.
Winner one hell of a kid. Smoking gas, drinking
Winner.
What you doing out of dick? Slick talker since a jet.
Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag. Disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school. Winter one hell of a kid. I am. Smoking gas, jogging mid. I'm lit. What you doing out in dick? I swear. Slick talker since a jet. Finesse. I know that this what they want. Facts. Run up some money, I'm gone. I'm out. I'm the truth like Ron. Killing. Sipping lean and saying one. I did it. I taught myself to finesse. For real. I taught myself how to judge. For real. Being broke was no fun. No way. Winter time, all the time, ooh. Winter time, all the time, ooh.
Alright, so we start off this what if with Naruto failing the ninja test for the 3rd time straight. So this really hits Naruto hard this time. And pretty much what has happened that he actually wanted to become a ninja at this point. You know, he actually wanted to gain the respect of the village. You know, he wasn't trying to play around any longer. So pretty much, Mizuki would come up to him as Naruto sitting on his swing, and he would pretty much try to convince him to go and steal the scroll. Naruto would begin jumping in joy when he hears he can actually get a 4th chance at becoming a ninja. He would think, this is my time. This is my time to actually, show them that I'm actually ready. Show them that I'm powerful enough to become a ninja. So he pretty much sneaks into the Hokage's office. Now, he would say this was awfully easy, and someone with Naruto's intellect, it's very low, so you wouldn't have known it was a trap, and that's when he was caught by an Anbu. Now, this is pretty much a whole setup that Danzo has set up, so pretty much, they've captured Naruto because they have found out that he has the curse mark on top of the 9 tails, and pretty much, they wanted to make him into a bioweapon. They already wanted to do that, but Danzo said, okay, this is where I draw the line. It has to happen. So pretty much that's what pretty much began to happen. Naruto was given drugs that pretty much mutated his body over time, making him physically stronger and physically faster and more durable. And it would slowly turn his hair white just off the experiment itself. So I guess he would also be given a Sharingan. So pretty much Naruto is so-called missing pretty much, and no one really knows where he is except for Danzo and his Anbu, and pretty much Hiruzen, I was about to say Hagoromo, but Hiruzen pretty much he's suspecting Danzo, but he doesn't actually have any evidence or actually truly believes it. So they pretty much postpone Team 7 actually going on missions and postpone the tuning exams, because this is not just some random kid. This is the 9 tails we're talking about. So it's really that serious. So pretty much that's what happens. And the 3rd Hokage begins to think of the night of the decree 12 years ago, the day that Naruto was born. So pretty much Naruto was born and the 9 tails was unsealed from Kushina. As we know, the masked man was there, but alongside him, Orochimaru was too. Minato would be pretty much accompanied with the 3rd Hokage, and there would pretty much be a battle between them. As you would know, Orochimaru and pretty much the masked man would be overwhelmed by the strength of the 2 Kages. So they would just calmly away and pretty much take the 9 tails and Naruto with them. So they would seal the 9 tails into Naruto and give him the curse mark. Now the curse mark has aligned with the 9 tails' chakra instead of Naruto's, which means he doesn't have any brunt of the curse mark. Meaning that if he taps into the Nine Tails of Power, he gets the curse mark on it, pretty much stacked and mixed together. So that's what had happened, but he doesn't know that that's how it actually happened. He knew that he had a curse mark as he could see it on his neck, but he thought it was pretty much not even gonna work, and pretty much he thought it was an invalid curse mark because he was a Jinchuriki, and he didn't know that if the curse mark was aligned with the Nine Tails or a tailed beast itself, it could actually be stacked on to the Nine Tails of Power. So pretty much, he didn't even fully understand how it worked at that time. So that time skipped later, and that's where we are now. So pretty much, Hiruzen has just sent a team of Anbu to go look for Naruto. As this is a real urgent thing now, because everybody all of a sudden is caring about Naruto. And pretty much, like, when Naruto was really young, he would actually be able to connect with the Nine Tails due to him actually somewhat diving into embracing hatred when he was really young. So when he was 6, he actually met the Nine Tails, but he had thought it was a dream. So it pretty much became a distant and a faded memory. He doesn't even fully remember the conversation he had with the beast. But Naruto, pretty much has been either or and be able to suppress his hatred and his pretty much just his hate in general and his anger. So he never really got another chance to meet the Nine Tails. So pretty much, Hiruzen pretty much goes and is going to inform, Danzo about how he just sent a Anbu team out to go look for Naruto. And he pretty much finds them, or he pretty much, finds Danzo in the training room, training Naruto to use a sword, with a bunch of Anbu pretty much standing behind him. And pretty much Hiruzen and Danzo would pretty much begin to actually fight, and so would their Anbu. So Hiruzen Anbu would pretty much show up, and so would the Anbu that were already with Danzo. So they're pretty much fighting against each other, and pretty much that results into the whole Hokage building, anybody that was in it had to be evacuated because it was pretty much being burnt down to the ground. So it was just being destroyed just off the pure god tierness of the fight. And pretty much that what happened, and Naruto was told to escape. So Naruto pretty much escapes out of a window and pretty much just begins running. He doesn't really have a destination. He doesn't even feel like he can really go back to his house because he knows that those people know where he lives. So it just feels like he's aimlessly running. And pretty much this commotion has caused pretty much everybody to pay attention, since it is a literal fire at the Hokage's building. So everybody's looking outside their windows, on their balconies, and it's a crazy sight. And the Anbus, or at least some of them, so let's just say 2, come after Naruto, which leads Naruto to fight these Anbus. These Anbus would pretty much attack Naruto, pretty much throw some shuriken at them, then transform into one, then swipe down at Naruto with their sword. Then Naruto would pretty much dodge in the nick of time and use the Shadow Clone Jutsu and swing the Shadow Clone, at one of the Anbu. The Anbu would pretty much just slice it in half in ease and pretty much actually make Naruto, really, really try, which he hasn't been able to do with the lowest rank Anbu that he's been fighting for the 6 months of his training. So pretty much, he's actually being pushed to his limits, and yeah, he's kind of getting bodied, although, he learned a bunch of jutsu and all this and all that. So he pretty much activated his Sharingan that he was given by, fucking Danzo. So pretty much, he activates that. And he is pretty much copying the jutsu that they do, and it becomes a bit more equal than what it was before. It was Naruto being significantly lower than them, than Naruto trying to even it out with the Tsutomu Sharingan. And pretty much that's how that fight didn't end in Naruto's death, pretty much. So yeah, Naruto would pretty much create a bunch of clones and start throwing the wind palm around. And he would pretty much do a wind palm tornado and pretty much actually break one of the swords of the Anbu. And he would pretty much throw a kunai at one of the Anbu, intentionally missing. And the Anbu was not even paying attention to that, because he knows that it was gonna miss him. And pretty much Naruto used his own trick on him. Pretty much transformed himself into the kunai, and came down and pretty much actually sliced the head off of one of the Anbu. Now Naruto is pretty much, Naruto, it is what it is, bro. Hey, you're probably thinking, oh, Naruto's gonna be surprised. Oh, he just killed somebody and all this and that. Naruto, at this point in time, Naruto's not even thinking about that. Because, so much adrenaline is pretty much rushing through his body. He's just, all heightened senses, and he's pretty much in his fight mode. So all that emotional shit that he would have been doing during that fight, that talk no jutsu, that shit is out the window. Because, that 6 months of training, may be a short period of time, but it really changed him as a person, not just physically. So pretty much, he actually tries to speed blitz the other Anbu, and the Anbu pretty much keeps on making clones and just double teaming this man. And pretty much, Naruto does the same, and he sees the Anbu do a water style dragon jutsu. Why did I just say water style 4 times? But it is what it is. So Naruto copies the water style dragon, and he pretty much pushes himself to do a 3-headed dragon. And what he really does is pretty much he throws a bunch of his ninja tools into the water, and it's just carrying them, pretty much. Which is indirectly just charging them with a bunch of chakra. So they're pretty much when one of the water dragon opens its mouth, it just throws a bunch of water that turns to ice and pretty much is going to pierce, the Anbu if he doesn't move out the way. But what he doesn't know is that he doesn't see, the kunai pretty much he used a shadow jutsu. So he has the kunai in the shadow of the icicle. And the Anbu hasn't noticed this because he's underestimating Naruto's power right now. So, he pretty much blocks the icicle, but the kunai still lands and hits him hits his abdomen. And that's where Naruto pretty much it does more damage than what it usually do, because it was chakra filled. And that's when Naruto would pretty much try to Naruto's body would pretty much tense up just because of the Sharingan. And he's starting to get dizzy because he has just gotten the Showdown, so it's new. And, he's getting, his body's getting unstable. So his body's getting unstable just from this continuous fight with the Sharingan. So pretty much what is happening is that he's going in and out of sleep during him trying to fight, and he's getting the bricks beat off of him. So pretty much he gets knocked out for a good minute or so, and that's where he sees the Nine Tails. And the Nine Tails steps closer and just reveals himself from the shadows. And the Nine Tails says, "Long time no see." Now, when Naruto sees the Nine Tails, he thinks back to when he was 6 when he first met him. He still doesn't remember much, but he definitely remembers the face. It's really memorable, as he never seen anything like it. As he's pretty much, he pretty much like dropped his broken blade and pretty much said, "Who are you?" And, the Nine Tails would pretty much give his own little monologue and pretty much tell him who he is and his origin. And pretty much how he was created by Hagoromo. And how he looks at Hagoromo as, his creator pretty much. Like a father figure. So technically, and that's, I guess that's how he thinks of it. So pretty much, the Nine Tails would pretty much tell Naruto that his name is Kurama. And, Kurama already knows Naruto's name. So pretty much, Naruto says, "Do you know how I can beat the Anbu? Is there any possible way?" And, Kurama does, smirk and says, "Only with my power." And, Naruto is questioning this because, he didn't know that, Kurama really. He knew that he possessed chakra, but, he didn't know that he possessed, a really, really strong amount. Because, Kurama, he told his origin, but he didn't really, go in detail about his power and all that other stuff. So he's kind of surprised and, doesn't really fully understand. So he's like, "What?" And that's when he gets transported back to the regular world, I guess. And he pretty much wakes up into a Two Tails cloak mode. And that's where he pretty much kicks the Anbu off of him as he was about to pretty much be stabbed by a kunai. So pretty much he would just kick the Anbu off of him. And the Anbu would literally break both of his legs just off of the impact once he landed in one of the buildings. And he would pretty much, clap the cheeks out of this low-level trash can Anbu. So, pretty much, yeah, it is what it is. So, yeah. And pretty much Danzo's plan was foiled. And Danzo pretty much gets imprisoned. So, Danzo, he's not even worried. He's not even... he's mad about Naruto, but he's not mad about him being in prison because Danzo can pretty much get out of any situation as long as he really wants to. So he's not really worried about getting out of the prison. And when pretty much Hiruzen puts him in the prison with that extra ninja with him, he'll say, "I'll come back." And that's pretty much his last words until he's pretty much his last words after he gets, locked in the cell. And pretty much Hiruzen doesn't believe he actually could, because Hiruzen, he knows about some of the stuff he did, but not all the stuff. So he doesn't know about all his feats, all the weird shit he be doing. So he's like, "Alright, yeah, sure you will." And that's when, that ninja that's pretty much following, Hiruzen would pretty much suggest that you should pretty much do, a background check on most, all the things that Danzo has done in the past. And, Hiruzen would pretty much agree, and he would find abundance of things. And, Hiruzen is just surprised at the amount of things. And, Hiruzen but actually started to take, oh, I'm getting back out seriously. So he adopted Naruto just so he can, be relatively safe. So pretty much that's where I'm gonna leave this what if off. With that being said, I'm out in 9,000.